Welcome to episode 7 of the amazing digital hell. And you might be able to tell by my voice how long it's been since I just recorded, because it's been literally like 2 to 3 weeks, because I've had 1, maybe 2 mental breakdowns. So I got myself some soda and now I'm feeling a bit better. Anyway, episode starts off with Zool hiding from Caine because they don't even want to do jack shit again like normal. Ragatha finds a note on the wall, and it's just something Caine wrote that just says, I'm gonna go make a casserole and I need to go to the store. And Caine is reading this right next to them. And he also just says that, like, today they don't really have an adventure plan, so they could just throw a beach party if they feel like it, or just explore around, because they don't really do anything. And he does this Chinese room bit because, I don't know, for you not nerds out there, there's a theory that if AI even understands language. Anyway, so they decide to throw a beach party because why not? They haven't had time to properly relax in like literally so long in the entire show. You also know how much I fucking hate fillers. But surprise, surprise, this episode is not, in fact, a filler episode. So they go outside, they all, or well, most of them, go into this weird booth that changes their clothes into like actual beach clothes. And Zubo's the only one not wearing clothes, which just means that Zubo's always naked, which is weird. Jax is just hanging out by himself, and while Kinger, Ragatha, and Pomni were playing beach ball together, Ragatha loses her eye, like one of her eyes, and it goes into the water. Pomni swims down there, and there's just this weird bit with the voice actor of Charlie. And Pomni comes up from the water with Jax, who is currently alone by himself. Surprise, surprise, he isn't, because he just got splashed with water by Zubul. Says that, hey, you're an asshole and I don't like you, because Jax was just questioning him. And also, this is that, like, this is annoying to Jax that he just wanted to grovel in his own misery for a bit alone, though he just walks away because he's, pissed off. Zubul is getting adjusted to their ability to change out body parts, which is pretty nice. Pomni notices Jax walking up, and she also Pomni notices Jax walking off, and she also notices Abel watching Jax. And then we go to Jax, who's just bed-rotting in his dark-ass room. We also see this picture of Ribbit, Kaufmo, and Jax just hanging out together, and they're all seeming pretty happy, actually. And so Jax is just in his depressed-ass room. A weird-ass set of hands comes out to touch him, and he touches them. Like, yeah, I know it sounds weird. But then this is when he was about to extract, because they just hear this weird-ass music. And when he wakes up from Pomni knocking on his room, and it just makes his heart race, and he comes out the door being depressed and shit. Pomni and Ragatha are there with Abel, and they're talking for a bit, and they say that Abel knows how to get out of there, but that they need to find a way to get into the Chinese room. So they figured Jax might just have the keys they need. After a weird bit, they go into the Chinese room, and then Abel explains who he is, and he also said that he doesn't want to involve Kinger, because apparently something happened between them and Kinger, and by the way, everyone is together here. Anyway, so he explains that there was a company that trapped everyone into stasis chambers, and he says that there's a place in Caine's office where if they overload that, then they'll force the stasis chambers to open, and so that is the plan. So they need to first get the master key from Caine. And by the way, Jax is extremely distrusting of this. Jax walks around, calls for Caine, and then he basically tricks him into giving the MasterCard that is inside of him. Pomni and Ragatha are walking with Abel, and they find this, like, wall, and Abel goes through it into this weird room that looks like something you'd see on acid. Gangle and Zubul are talking for a bit, saying how it might be a good idea to inform Kinger about who the Abel is, because they've been with him for a while. So they open Kinger's pillow fort. They just talk to him for a bit, and he says he doesn't know who the fuck Abel is. Abel gets some master keys for everyone. Abel is also being a mysterious ass bitch and not explaining why he doesn't trust Kinger. Everyone gets one of the weird hand keys or whatever. Kinger, who was given a key, goes out of his pillow fort, so his mind is already erased on who Abel even is. Abel uses some collision detection to fuck around and just get everyone inside Caine's like main office place where he just resides. So they go inside Caine's office, and each of these like weird spheres that are in here are individual worlds that he has created. And so everyone's just looking around at their past adventures. Jax is just longingly looking into this ball by himself, looking like he misses something from there. So this is probably when something bad happened to his friends. While they're walking towards Caine's like place that is behind his cabin, because it's just weird, I'm not going to tell you anything about it, so you can just watch this episode by yourself if you really give that much of a fuck. But anyway, they all go there, and while this is happening, Jax is breathing heavily and uncomfortably. There is this large screen that just says, the red button will close the console and keep all players inside the circus, and the blue button will get everyone outside. They're debating for a bit, and they say that they want to all go out. Jax, who's having a panic attack and having some weird flashbacks, decides to run in and press the red button, and out comes Caine. And by the way, right before this happens, Jax says, wait, why'd I do that? And Caine says, congratulations, you picked the good ending. And then he picks up Abel and ices him right in front of all of them. Jax is laughing his ass off, but then gets angry because Caine lied about being able to control their minds. And also, the fact that this was an adventure means that he was purposely playing with their hearts. And so Jax is just angry as all hell, which, yeah, fair. Once Jax confronts Caine, he's confused for a sec, and then he starts getting defensive. Pomni mentions their names, and this just makes Caine, like, say, wait, hold on. And then while Caine is panicking, he says that if he did anything more with their minds than just add temporary modifiers, and something much worse would happen. And then Kinger says Scratch, who is a character from Kinger's time, who had cancer. And he was basically abstracted because of Caine's fuckery. Caine panics and just gives them all like weird lotion bottles and just tells them to have a fragrant night. And then he just says bye-bye. And this just makes him really pissed off at him. And that is the end of this video. Thanks to the power of drugs that I am able to record shit like this for you guys.